Today on the workbench, I've got a new project here. This is an Athearn ready to roll GP40X. And of course you can see it's in the Southern scheme and it's a high hood. And of course they ran these long hood forward. But this is DCC ready, so it has a plug in it. And this is brand new. I got this at a train show. But you can see from the packaging the antenna there was bent over. And this, like I say, this was brand new. But anyway, yeah, I broke the seals on it this morning. But what we're going to do to it is we're going to put a decoder buddy in it, a SoundTraxx 21 pin decoder, and you can see the number there. Let's see, what else? I've got 2 scale sound system speakers. I believe I ordered 2 for this one. We'll upgrade the couplers, and I'll probably end up putting LED lights in it, because I'm sure this has the 1.5 volt grain of wheat bulbs in it. So, but there's no time like the present. We'll hop right into this thing. Looks like we've got a couple of screws here. We got to remove the couplers. Yep, try to remove the couplers. There, I got everything but the top of the box. We can pull this front screw out. I'm trying to be careful there. I don't want to smash that antenna any more than it already is. And I believe there's a couple of screws. There's a screw and there's a screw, because that won't, yeah, that won't pull off right there. So we'll get these 2 screws in the back here. And there's no more up front. So that'll pull right off. Trying to be careful there because I wanted to, yep, it's got the 1.5 volt bulbs in it. So now, and we'll have to, well, the motor ought to be isolated since this is DCC ready. I won't have to do anything to the motor. Okay. So let's go ahead. Normally I'll pry those little clips off, but just no matter for time's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and cut everything. Cut our lights. Then we'll cut our track pickup. And that is on there with a clip. So there, we've got our board off, no biggie. So we'll set that aside. We'll set our body aside. And now we can kind of clean this thing up a little bit. Get some grease right here. some alcohol on it. That'll clean that up nicely. The lid back on there. Alright, so now I need to dig myself out a Decoder Buddy. Boy, that thing is heavy. Wow. Yeah, I need to dig out a Decoder Buddy. I'll get my KeepAlive. Well, I've got my KeepAlive right here. And I'll probably be using a TCS KA1 in that for space. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure I ordered 2 speakers for this. So let me get all of my stuff ready. Then we can start. I'll end up having to solder a wire to this top contact here. Of course, the bottom wire is already there. I've got the track pickups here. And then in regular old Athearn style, this goes back to like the Blue Box days. They're getting their conductor's side. The power is drawn right up through from the frame. And we'll leave that way. I don't see anything wrong with that. So, yeah, I won't have to remove the motor. Turn my soldering iron on, and we can start disassembly, but I want to get the rest of my material. I'll be back. Okay, so I've got my Decoder Buddy Mini out, and this one has the resistors already on it. I won't have to solder any of those in place. I've got my scale sound system speaker. If you can read that. This is for the GP40. I'll remove this rear weight, and that'll bolt right, screw right in place. And then, yeah, we'll be good to go here. Looks like we have plenty of room in here. I'm hoping I can maybe put this KeepAlive up here in the front. I think there'll be enough room there. So, but the first thing I'm going to do here is pull this clip off. What I'll end up doing, I'm going to mount this that in that direction. This is the front. So I'll put my motor wire back here, my other motor wire. But first I need to remove this, and we'll have to be careful not to lose that spring. So there, we've got that. And then put a little flux on that. I've already got that heated up. So there, I've got that on there. And then I can take get me a piece of wire here. tin that up. So that sits on there like that. Yeah. I had missed it there. That cleaned off. And I can reinstall that. And then I'll clean that off. As I'll use my double-sided tape to mount the board to. I'll need to clean the back of the decoder buddy here. And I just stick that onto the board first. The other thing I'm going to do, there's a couple little ridges right here. I'm going to trim them off. So that'll give me a nice flat place for that to sit. We'll run that motor wire up through there. Yeah, I'll get it in a minute. Okay, so now we have our decoder buddy mounted. Okay, so now I'm going to take and trim these off. And so now I've got the flux on that. flux on that wire. Go ahead and tin those. Okay, so there's my two motor wires connected, and I don't worry about which one's which. I can make a CV change if I need to. Now I can go ahead and use my factory wires for the front track pickups. We'll trim that one a little bit. Okay, so we've got track pickups. We'll clean some more here a little bit. Now this one here, I may have to extend it, but I want to take, yeah, because right now I'm about 3/16 short. So let's pull this weight off, because we got to take it off anyway for the new speaker. Now we have plenty of wire. And I know somebody will be worried about losing that weight out of there. But let me tell you, this thing is plenty heavy without that weight in it. So the way these run, and before I do anything here, I'm just trying this out, and I hate to do that. That'll end up running through the center and up like that. As long as I can keep it off of that shaft, it'll be fine. Because JT does put a hole in those for your wiring. So that'll sit just like that. But before I do anything with the speaker, I am going to take and tin these, and then add the wire to them. And since this is only one, I am not worried about the positive and negative on the speaker. If I were putting this in parallel or series with something else, then I would worry about that. But like I say, we're not using that. I am going to tin these wires. A little bit of excess flux on that I cleaned off. So the next thing after this, I'll get these installed, and then put it in. Make sure we got enough room for our KeepAlive. And I know I've got plenty of wire there. run right up through that hole. That'll do the same. Looks like there's a little flash there from printing. Get that cleaned out of that hole. Make sure that we're not hitting anything. Okay, so there's our speaker. We've got our wiring in there, and it looks like we're clearing everything. Yep. Okay. So I believe we're good right there. Yep. With the length of our track pickup. So I can go ahead and tin that. And I'll get it hooked up. Yep, plenty of wire. Then we can go ahead and put our speaker wires in, and boy, I did make them long enough. And we'll go ahead and get this all fluxed and tinned. So right now, as this sits, I'm ready to test this thing. And then we can come back and do our lights. Of course, I do have the KeepAlive here. I believe that will mount right here. Because it does have that high hood. But I'll worry about that a little bit later. Right now, I'm going to put the decoder on it and try it out. So this is what we have so far. I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back. I have the direction. The direction of travel is good. The sound's good. And pull that decoder off there. So what I am going to do, I am going to remove this front weight, and I'm going to mill out some of this right here. That way this KeepAlive will set down a little farther in. I think it'll be alright, but I just want to do that just for my own curiosity. So I'm going to take and I'm going to pull these two track pickups off so I can remove this board. Or not board, this weight, I guess. And then I'll go down and I'll mill that out. And then I'll be back here in a second. Okay, I got that milled out, filed down. So now I'm going to take and we'll clean it off. Some alcohol. And I'll do the same with the KeepAlive here. That'll get all the oil and everything off of that. That way we can have a clean surface to work with. Get out the tape. Clean some of the shavings off of that. Now that I've turned that around, I'll cut that wire off a little more after I get this fastened down. Then I just got to peel the tape off. And I'll leave enough to get to that screw so we can pull the weight off if we need to. That'll get us well below anything we're going to run into in the cab. There's that. I am going to cut this wire off. It'll save me 3/8 of an inch of wire. I mean, it was no big deal, but that'll make that install just a little bit cleaner. Now for our KeepAlive, we'll go back here to this pad, it's a ground, and then our positive. And I'll go ahead and flux and tin them up. Clean the excess off. Cut the excess wire. And then if I can get a hold of it, next will be our lights. Got everything in my way here. Trying to hold too much stuff. Flip that around. Because I want to come in from the side. I like coming in from the inside on these wires. The inside of the board. Because if you come in from this side, you have a chance of hitting the shell. when you're sliding the wires in or sliding the body on. So doing it like this keeps that in there nice and neat, and you don't have to worry about hitting the shell. So let's see, now I don't need these little pieces of wire. Now really, I don't remember if these are, I keep calling them 1.5 volt bulbs, but they could be 12 volt bulbs. Either way, I am going to go ahead and pull them out. So they have these things taped in here. Get a better pair of pliers. Pull that old white tape out. We'll give it credit though, it does stick pretty well. So now I can take and try. Well, I'll try and pull them out first. They are in there. There's one. There's the front ones out. Let's try one at a time. It's easier one at a time. I pulled that grill off right there, or pushed it out. Anyway, I'll throw those away. And now on to the lighting. So I'll use my normal 402 LED bulbs, and I'll use the Bondic on it. So I think I'll turn this off right now and then go ahead, put the lights in it, and then when I come back I'll show you, I'll show wiring the lights up. So I'll be back here in a little bit. Alright, so we're back. I've got the LEDs installed here, ready to go. So now we can pull our shell up. We'll get this situated where we want it. Now, the way this decoder buddy is laid out, let me zoom in here a little bit. This side up here is always set up for the forward direction. You can see the end of my tweezers there. So the way I've got this is long hood. The long hood on this locomotive is forward. And they've got it marked there with an F. Southern always ran most of their stuff long hood forward. So I do have these ready to go. They work. What I need to do is flux and tin. The pads for the lights. But so since this is forward up here, and this set of wires back here on the long hood will have to come up to that. But anyway, this is the last step of this install. I just wanted to kind of point that out. I don't know if I've ever said that before or not, about the orientation of these boards. But really, I wouldn't have to worry about it too much, because I could do some CV changes but just to keep it simple, or simpler, let's say that, it's easier to put it in the right orientation. So there's my positive for the rear lights. There's my function for the rear lights. Now let's get these. We'll go ahead and turn this around to make it easier. And you can't see that at all. Yeah, you can kind of see it. But this is the red is common, and then the black is the function. So that's all of that hooked up. Now let me turn this back around. I don't know why, I always find it easier to work this way. But there's all of our lighting hooked up. So now I am going to put the decoder on it. And then we can put our shell on. As long as I can keep my wiring out of the way. Sometimes it helps to put it on upside down. Alright, so we're all back together. And now I just need to try it out. Well, put the couplers on it and try it out. But yeah, I mean, it fits back on the shell nice. Everything's good. So let me try this out and I'll be back. Alright, so we've got this project finished. This is our Athearn GP40X. And of course you can see it's the high hood for the Southern, and we're running it long hood forward. Updated the couplers in it with KDs and put in, you know, the LED lights front and rear. So let's go ahead and start this up. And this is the stock configuration on the decoder. And we'll turn our front headlight on, and it's a lot brighter on video than it makes it seem like one headlight. I'm gonna turn that off. But yeah, this project came out really well. Let's ramp this up. Then we'll go right straight back to idle with F19. And then on 128 speed step setting on my controller, we'll pull it forward. So there's speed step 1. Reverse that. It is a little bit jerky at that speed. Of course, I think I can work that out after I break the locomotive in. It will smooth out. But yeah, that's this project completed. I think it came out really well, and we'll get this thing up and running somewhere. All right. Thanks for watching.